The Bronny situation, the mediocrity, the influence of LeBron, the $500,000 advance. Was he good enough? Will he ever be good enough? Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronny situation. We understand most of the times dealing in high-powered situations where you have, mostly before it was anything in our community, because we didn't really have that kind of influence and power. It was mainly like white kids who would, really get the bulk of what we would consider nepotism, right? That's why everybody's saying like, hey, you know what? We're not even going to talk about nepotism now, because based on the fact that it had been around for so long, and there's a lot of situations that we weren't able to be privy to because we didn't know about the business world from that perspective. We're dealing with something and a situation where the person who is undoubtedly benefiting from nepotism is LeBron James's son, right? I don't really have a problem with that from that perspective. I don't have a problem with him, being able to put his son in position to win, if you will. But however, I do have a problem with the fact that when you're put in a position where every day you're going to be watched, every day your job is a highly visible job, and your job is in the field of entertainment, if you will. Is Bronny good enough to be on the Lakers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. For what the Lakers have been known for, winning and really trying to establish and develop teams that would win. There's no different when Shaq left, when they got Paul Gasol, and all of the things that happened, when Shaq left and they went on to win a couple of more championships from that perspective, right? It was always trying to win. Would any other player be able to get a position on a team like the Lakers with the history and the legend that goes behind them and with the winning, averaging 5 points in college? No, they wouldn't even get a look. I'm not talking about the 55 position. I'm talking about in general. No. A lot of times they've gotten rid of players, the Lakers have, who undoubtedly perform at a way higher level than Bronny does and did in college, from that perspective, if you will. So when you look at it overall, what it says to me is that, and I understand why, but overall it says that is anything that the NBA ever told us real? Because at one point, if you look at, I would say Isaiah Thomas, who played for the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas was phenomenal, a phenomenal point guard, right? Had a few problems, but nothing that couldn't be overcome. He couldn't find a spot in the league after the Boston situation and what he went through. He couldn't find a spot. Would he have been more valuable to a team than Bronny would? I would say yes. And there's numerous of players who have played in the league for a while, who somehow, some way, based on the business and the politics of what goes on in the NBA, who haven't been able to have or have longevity or even an opportunity to be able to play in the league, if you will. So now, with that being said, understanding Bronny is not good enough to play in the NBA. No, not at this particular point. Will he develop into a good player to be a great player? We'll have to see. But most players are not even afforded the opportunity to be able to develop, to be able to see if they would become great or good or anything worthy of being in the NBA had their father not been LeBron James. That part, I understand it to be LeBron James's goal. His goal for him to play with his son, you know, and because of LeBron James's bargaining power and being one of the greatest players that ever played the game and being as good as he is, and him going to any team in the NBA undoubtedly would make that team an instant. Well, I wouldn't say any team, but most of the teams in the NBA and LeBron James opting out of his contract, strategic move to get his son. I get it. I understand the business aspect of what he did. Will it hurt or help his son in the long run? Who knows? Well, it did. It really, but it really doesn't matter though. Come on, LeBron James already signed 160, 150 million. I mean, if money is managed right, his son will never have to work a day in his life. You know what I mean? But I'm not patting nobody's pockets or nothing like that. This is just the reality, and because they play in such a public sport where your salary's announced, just like Jason Tatum with the richest contract in NBA, where we see, okay, cool. Now, they gave Bronny a $500,000 advance. LeBron has everything to do with everything that's happening. Everything. And so, do I think it's unfair? Yeah. I think it's unfair to the players who really, there's one player that I know right now over in China right now who's killing it. EJ Anasiki. Ejiofor Anasiki. Look him up on YouTube, if you will. EJ Anasiki. Killing it in China right now. 35, 17, and 5. And I mean, Cal State Fullerton graduate, took Cal State Fullerton to the state championship after transferring from Tennessee, if you will, right? Sacred Heart before then. Right now, could the Lakers use somebody like him? Absolutely. Could Boston use somebody like him? Absolutely, because he's a proven winner. And every place that he's played overseas, including China, this summer, he's a winner. Right? Should EJ Anasiki be able to have a spot on the Lakers? Absolutely. Could he help them win? Absolutely. Getting those kind of numbers. And so, the politics of the game. But I do understand the other side of the business aspect of basketball, which is LeBron James is in the power position where, okay, cool. Like I said, whatever team LeBron goes, they're instant contender for a championship. And I'm sure he would choose wisely and who he would want to sign to, and making sure that they would be somebody who would be in contention for the chip, if you will, making it to the playoffs and possibly competing for the NBA championship, if you will, right? So LeBron says, I want to play with my son. This is not so much a goal of Bronny's, but a goal of LeBron's, right? And so when you put it on the other foot of LeBron's, I understand that and I respect that part of the game. And I'm going to tell you why. We just seen what happened to Klay Thompson over in Golden State. Most people said, well, as much as Klay Thompson had did for Golden State, that they should have, gave him somewhat of a great deal or a better deal than they probably had offered him before he went and signed with Dallas. And I believe that's true. But see, that's the other side of the game. That's what makes what LeBron is doing so powerful, based on the fact that if LeBron was in somewhat of the down years of his career, that's what happens. What you think they should give you, they no longer want to offer you. What LeBron invests in himself and his body and him playing at a top tier level, from that perspective, he's always been that guy. And so that goes into how he's treated himself, what he's worth to the team, and what they know he's worth for ticket sales, money, and all of the revenue that will be generated from him being on any team, if you will. If he went to another team, that new team, LeBron jerseys, would be a hot item. It's about revenue, and I get it. For the Lakers, from that perspective, that's why LeBron James has so much bargaining power. Understanding that, and then understanding Klay Thompson's situation, Isaiah Thomas' situation, once again, you go back and you see the flip side and you're looking at it from an executive standpoint now. Do I want him? Do I need him? And can we get somebody who may not be able to do everything that he does, but a little bit of what he does, and we can develop him along the way, right? When you think about that from the Bronny perspective, it's LeBron. It's not about what Bronny can do. It's not. It's about what LeBron James wanted. And he got exactly what he wanted. And I can't be mad at that. Nobody can be mad at that, because now you're dealing with kind of two or three different elements. You're dealing with, the bargaining power of LeBron. Then you deal with the executive side for what they want. And then you're dealing with the actual performance and the talent side of what that player or person can offer the team in winning. And so I get it. I understand it. Overall, for LeBron and what he's developed himself into being, the position as a businessman and where he's placed himself, I'm totally with him. If you can make that happen, make that happen. And he made it happen. Do I think Bronny deserves to be with the Lakers? No. From a talent perspective, no. There's a lot of players out there way better than him. Guys who gonna play in that summer league, that's gonna eat Bronny up. And because they have something to fight for. And what I mean by that is Bronny grew up rich. He grew up, his father's a multimillionaire, one of the best players ever to play in the NBA, made hundreds of millions of dollars on and off the court, right? And so therefore, the natural hunger of what LeBron had when LeBron came in the league, coming from where he came from, having something to prove, wanting to get mama out the projects, wanting to get my kids a better lifestyle and all of those things, the motivation that he had, right? On side of loving the game of basketball is what got LeBron to where he is. And that's the reason why I paint the picture like I do, because Bronny does not have that. He doesn't have to have that same hunger. You know what I mean? That thing where you come in, even for Kobe, when Kobe came in the league, we seen, even though his father had played in the league and overseas and so on and so forth, Kobe just had that thing, that wanting to be better, that killer instinct, like I'm that too, something to prove. I don't see that in Bronny. I just don't see it in him. And like I said, will he develop, sometimes criticism, and people doubting you makes you turn on that switch. Like, okay, but more importantly, I think it's something that one must prove to himself before he can prove it to somebody else, and having that thing and wanting to be able to make it. That's why I mentioned the guy, E.J. Anasiki, who probably most of you guys never heard of before. But he's a monster. He's a beast. Go look his name up. E.J. Anasiki, YouTube, and see what I'm talking about. He's in China killing it right now. And so, once again, any team in the NBA can use an E.J. Anasiki, right? But any team in the NBA can't use a Bronny. He would be a waste of a roster spot. We're talking about strictly talent-wise. Without the ability to be able to develop his talent, you don't really get those opportunities. You got to be good. Jason Tatum, when he came out of school, Jason Tatum was good. Now Jason Tatum playing in the league a little while, he's become a great player, and deservingly so with the contract that he just received. But then you flip it on the other side, and how the business, when they'll trade you off, Paul George going, to Philly, when you feel like, hey, the Clippers had the money, but did they feel like they wanted to pay? No. So the 76ers paid them a little bit more. And so that's the thing. Those are the three elements. You got the talent, the executive side, and the player side as far as what LeBron has done and the money that he's made for the league, if you will. And so on that side, it was what LeBron wanted, and he got exactly what he wanted. Can't be mad at that. Separate the two. The nepotism, that's something that happens all the time, but not in such a highly visible job, like the NBA, where every night Bronny's going to be scrutinized. If he gets 5 points, 4 points, he goes, 3 for 17 or whatever, yeah. So it's a complex thing, and at best, Bronny's a mediocre player. And I get it. The love of a father for his son, trumps all. If you got the power, if you got the negotiating, if the negotiations are on your side, and they favor what you want, you can get it. And LeBron got it. For that, I'm not mad. Like I said, we're going to see how this story develops. If Bronny puts in the work, and ain't just getting hot, because you got a lot of guys out there trying to really compete who coming from that spot where they coming from them places where, hot dogs and beans, and, mama ain't been able to, the lights then got cut out, and you know what I mean? There's a whole nother fire up underneath their ass that they playing for. You know what I mean? And they don't care if you LeBron James' son. They come to get it. They come to eat you up. You know what I mean? Bronny doesn't have to worry about that. He got a 4-year guarantee deal. And like I said, his father having the negotiating power, being one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, is the reason why. It's not because Bronny was a great player. And so Bronny has to live with that aspect of it, right? And like I said, him seeing his son accomplish that goal, that's a personal thing. But when we talk about basketball, we're going to see what happens. And hopefully the Lakers will be able to pull together a good team. But like I said go get EJ Anasiki. Any team in the NBA, if you watch this interview and you don't know who EJ Anasiki is, you go check him out. Because like I said, Boston can use him. Yeah, it's a lot of teams. Dallas could use him. So like I said, once again, then he's a winner. He can help you win. And I like basketball from a basketball perspective. I don't care who you are. If you can play the game, then I respect you, because your game says, you deserve and you demand that respect because you work hard and you're doing what it takes. So like I said, once again, that's my take on the Bronny situation. A lot of people's like, what you think about the Bronny situation? That's what I think about it. There's no hate towards LeBron. There's no hate towards Bronny. I get it. It's a business. Basketball is a business, right? They have a set salary that they point out every year. 800, 900 million, is the base operating budget for the NBA. I don't know if it's a little bit more now, right? But they bring in $5 to $6 or $7 billion off of that 800 million. So there's like 4 or 5x what the investment is, and it's a collective bargaining agreement. So when you understand that, then you understand that it's a business. So that's why my personal feelings are not involved. Just understanding what the information is, being able to dissect that, and being able to say, okay, cool. Hey, if he can do it, then make it happen. Could Michael Jordan have done that? Sure. But I don't think Michael Jordan wanted to put his son under that kind of pressure and under that kind of scrutiny, if you will, from that perspective. And so, that goes to show you different people choose to do different things. Did Giannis do that for his brothers? Yeah. Wasn't his sons, but it was his brothers. Can they play basketball a little bit? Yeah. But are they Giannis? No. Those are the facts. And so, but once again, after him getting his brothers and them signed to his team, he won a championship. And will he win another one? We'll see. We'll see. But like I said, I understand the game of life and the game of basketball. And like I said, sometimes they have nothing to do with each other. One is a business and one is personal. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.